Hey everyone, welcome back to the Cake Man Entertainment, and today I thought I'd do a review on the movie Seven. I heard a lot of comparisons and similarities between the movie called Seven and the Batman that recently came out, so I thought I'd finally watch it, and I did just last week. So the movie stars Morgan Freeman, Brad Pitt, Gwyneth Paltrow, Kevin Spacey as well. So the story is basically around this serial killer who does his kills based on the seven deadly sins. And the two main characters are two detectives who are trying to hunt him down and find out who he is. One of them is played by Morgan Freeman, who, ironically enough, is retiring in 7 days. And the other is a newly joined detective who came from another city, and they're trying to hunt down the murderer. I really liked the partner aspect between the two. It really develops as the movie goes on. In the beginning, Morgan Freeman is quite up himself, I guess, because he's been here longer too. He does have the experience. Brad Pitt is sort of a rash young detective who thinks he can do anything, but he hasn't been in this difficult part of the city. Morgan Freeman, although he is more experienced, he also sometimes cuts Brad Pitt out of conversations and does things without telling him because he thinks he doesn't need to know because he should be like the head detective. But as the movie progresses, they become closer and closer. Morgan Freeman gets invited to their home where Brad Pitt and his wife, Gwyneth Paltrow's character, have a nice dinner, and you find out that she's really struggling living there because they live like on top of a train station. They have a child on the way. Eventually, Morgan Freeman's character doesn't want anything to do with the case. He just wants to retire. But as usual, he gets dragged back into it, and he has to help out Brad Pitt to find out who the murderer is, because Brad Pitt, while he was searching for clues himself, he didn't really get anywhere. He was sort of struggling, so Morgan Freeman kept dropping him clues, and eventually they work together and try to solve the case. Now the case itself, it was well constructed based on the seven deadly sins. The character played by Kevin Spacey is a meticulously created character who has a lot of mystery about him, and you don't really know anything about what his motives are. He says he's been chosen. Now, chosen by who? Who knows? Or who's been chosen by? But he says he's been chosen, and that he has to do this. I can see the similarities between Batman in that he's killing people that, of course, he shouldn't kill people, but he's killing people that sort of deserve it, if that makes sense. In the Batman, I think a dodgy cop was killed, and Batman's like, oh, but he was a dodgy cop, like him. And then Jim Gordon's like, oh, so you're saying he had it coming? And then Batman doesn't really respond, but that is sort of what he implies. And in this case, yeah, some of the people definitely had it coming. In fact, there is a mayor, I think, in this one, or a lawyer. I think there's a mayor or a lawyer, which is very similar to the Batman. And the bad guy himself, well, his name is John Doe, which is quite funny. That's like the base name given to criminals, like when they don't know what the name is. So that really emphasizes the mystery surrounding his character and that he could be anyone. And at the end, the detectives they track him down to his apartment, and then Brad Pitt and him have a shootout, and he decides not to kill Brad Pitt when he could. There's a lot of thriller aspects to it. I think one of the killings, that one that was like a starved body, that was quite mutilating after that shootout. Brad Pitt's very flustered, and he really wants to get this guy, and he's a bit rash. You're not sure if he's going to try to kill this guy or not, and what's going to happen. Eventually, this John Doe gives himself up. What's going to happen now? I thought there has to be something else, and there was. Because he'd only killed, I think, 5 people at that stage, so you're wondering, what are the 2 last deadly sins? And then he says, I'll take you to where the last 2 bodies are, and then you can jail me for life. Otherwise, I'll plead insanity and maybe get a lesser jail sentence or none at all. They decide to go with him. They take a helicopter patrol, and they go all the way out into the middle of the desert, and there's no bodies there, of course, because it's another trick. This random brown van comes and it has a box in it, and then they drop the box off and give it to Morgan Freeman, and Morgan Freeman looks inside the box, and it's Brad Pitt's wife's head, Gwyneth Paltrow's head. You don't get to see it, but it's implied. Brad Pitt's like, what's in the box? What's in the box? And that was a really suspenseful scene, because as an audience, we already know what's in the box, and we see Brad Pitt as he's acting further and further that he eventually realizes what's in the box. The sad fact is that Brad Pitt didn't even know his wife was pregnant. Morgan Freeman did, because they had a chat about it, Gwyneth Paltrow and Morgan Freeman, but he didn't know. And when he did find out, because John Doe basically implied it, he was really angry, sad, all those mixed emotions were going into his head. And John Doe basically said the last two kills are me and her. John Doe wants Brad Pitt to fall into his game of being the last killer. And, well, he does fall into the trap, sadly. There's a really strong, powerful scene. He tries to stop him, but he can't. And he kills John Doe. Then the movie sort of closes out from there, but it's quite sad that the wife got killed. I really didn't see that turn coming at all, because John Doe seemed to, he wanted a friendship with the officers, or he was like very happy with their work. He was sort of proud in a way, which is quite strange, but I guess that's the mind of a serial killer. Overall, yeah, I enjoyed the plot of the movie. It was a good plot to the movie. The Seven Deadly Sins, the way it ended was a really strong, powerful ending. I love the partnership between Morgan Freeman and Brad Pitt. I like the trio in the car ride between John Doe, Morgan Freeman, and Brad Pitt, and then the car ride on the way to what should be the two bodies. They have really good dialogue in there. There's some good suspenseful music. I'd rate it a 8 out of 10, I'd say. It was a pretty good movie. I enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments below if you have any other movies for me to review. And until next time, I'll see you guys later.